Hi everyone, I know we all have our own unique set of questions that allows us to find out if our product or service is a good fit for our prospects. However, despite this, there are some universal techniques that we can all use to become even more effective when it comes to the discovery stage of the selling process. So the first tip I have for you is to be present. And what I mean by this, it's very easy, especially when you're doing the job for a while, that you get into the bad habit of just firing off your questions to your prospect because guess what? We just want to get the answers so we can move into the next stage of the selling process. But if you're truly present and you're truly listening to your prospect, two magical things will happen. So the first, your prospect is going to tell you exactly what it takes in order to sell them. And the second thing that's going to happen is, we're going to send a strong message to our prospect that this relationship is more about them rather than us. Now, to become good at listening is definitely a skill set. So I have a little tip for you, and it's called Take 5. So the next time your prospect is speaking, give it 5 seconds before you answer interject. This will not only give enough time for you to properly mull over, and come up with the right response, but it will also make sure your prospect is truly finished speaking. So often the case, we think we've heard it all before and we're ready to jump in there and respond to it. However, when we do this, we not only run the risk of taking everything off into a tangent, but our prospect may not actually have finished speaking. And had we given them their 5 seconds, they could end up answering the question themselves, or they could switch gears and move on to something else. Now, I'm sure we've all heard the person who speaks next loses, and this can apply here as well. Now, the next tip I have for you is called the interrogation. And when we're all firing off lots of questions to our prospect, some of them may feel like this is a bit like an interrogation. And not so much on the B2C side of the world, but definitely on the B2B side, where you're dealing with people who are in the firing line of salespeople all the time. And one thing that really annoys them is they're dealing with salespeople that haven't done the basic research. So a big tip here is to do as much research as you can on LinkedIn and Google beforehand. So when you do get your opportunity, you're going to be able to ask more pertinent questions. So the final part of this is how we structure our discovery questions. And one of the things I learned on the B2C side of the world was to ask my questions with the word if in front of it. So for example, I would say, if you were looking for a new vehicle, what type of time frame are you looking for? Or I'd say, if you were looking for a sofa, would you prefer leather or cloth? But by asking my questions with the word if in front of it, subtly tells my prospect that I'm not assuming that you're buying right now. However, it's okay to give me the information so we can move this in the right direction. And the other part of structuring our discovery questions is using plenty of what, why, and how questions. So what questions can help, uncovering your prospect needs? So you can say things like, what exactly are you looking for? Or, what type of time frame are you interested in? And then you have your why questions, which are more open-ended and they can really help addressing our prospect wants. So you can say something like, why isn't this particular service working for you right now? And then when you got this sort of all out of the way, you can finally get into the how questions. And you can ask them how do you think is the best way to solve this? So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video. And as I always say, if you like the content I'm putting out there, please go ahead, give me a like, give me a follow. And as always, good selling.